Valve actually steps into the TO drama. Faze wanted M0NESY, NAVI to play another Tier 2 event, and blast open London playoffs. Hello there, my friends, this is CS2 News Hub. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. So as always, we will kick things off with the roster moves. Recently, Heroic announced the disband of their academy roster, not because of the financial struggles, obviously, but due to changes in their academy policy. Right now, only the coach remains, while the org is actively scouting for fresh talent that could potentially strengthen the main lineup in the future. Worth noting that the only player from the academy who got a real shot in the main roster was Scrub, who briefly stepped in as a stand-in before Alcaran joined the team. Heroic's academy was launched just 5 months ago, and during that time they only managed to secure a 36% win rate on the Tier 3 scene. But honestly, knowing how Heroic likes to do things with selling players, it's actually a good and logical move, isn't it? Now, Wildcard are also making moves. In our last video we mentioned that they pulled their Opera phzy back from his loan in 9, supposedly, but now it's official as he rejoined the main roster, replacing Friend from the academy, who had been standing in for the team for the past 2 months. On top of that, Wildcard decided to strengthen their lineup with Fiku, which we already covered in one of our previous episodes. And currently the whole team is already competing together on LAN in North America. And you know what's crazy, guys? I'm not even sure if this is joke or not, but in an interview at Fragadelphia Fragville, phzy revealed to dust2.us that the shuffle was done without consulting with the players, while also being allegedly influenced by a manager using ChatGPT to sound out roster ideas. Can you imagine? Overall, phzy said to dust2us that while he's ready to play, it may take some time before he's able to trust Wildcard again after roster moves many have described as the worst of 2025. I mean, what is even worse, using ChatGPT or using Reddit suggestions? Guys, tell us in the comments below. Now, friends, we discussed in the previous video the conflict between PGL and ESL. You know, when the CEO of PGL said that ESL are basically threatening teams to ban them from events if they participate in PGL events? Well, that's a TLDR. And to push their stance, ESL just released an updated rulebook and sent it out to all the participants of M0NESY. Teams were given 48 hours to withdraw voluntarily, but with some pretty heavy consequences. If a team pulls out after the 8th of September, they will be banned from IM Krakow, which will happen at the beginning of 2026. On top of that, any team that refuses to play will also be banned from the next ESL tournament, and they will have to cover all travel and accommodation costs for their replacements, and they will have to also forfeit their prize money. And if no replacement is found, every match will be counted as a loss, hurting their VRS rating. It looked like ESL had seized complete control, leaving other TOs, especially PGL, cornered. But then Valve decided to step in. Yes, the gods of CS themselves decided to speak out. So just like that, in one night, Valve introduced new rules for all tournament organizers. Teams can now only be disqualified based on clear and transparent criteria, equal for everyone. TOs are allowed to make last-minute changes to disqualification rules only in exceptional cases, which is basically M0NESY. And organizers are now required to announce all key information well in advance. Open qualifiers at least 2 weeks before the start, Tier 1 events or wildcards 10 months in advance, Tier 2 events which affect VRS 2 months in advance, and Tier 2 events which not affect VRS 2 weeks in advance. I mean, I know that PGL are basically friends of Valve, but yo, ESL, you are not in control of the schedule, and I'm honestly happy that Valve corrected them. Now, my friends, let's move on. You probably remember how we covered that NAVI accepted an invite to a Star Ladder tournament, but turns out that was just the beginning. Now they've also confirmed their spot at Thunderpick World Championship, where the only other Tier 1 teams in attendance are FURIA, the Mongols, and Aurora. The rest of the lineup includes Legacy, 9Z, HLTV, Imperial, M0NESY, ANS, Parivision, Ecstatic, SAW, BIG, GG How, Bad Boom, Nimiga, OG, Ninjas in Pyjamas, TNL, and even a team called Venom. So yeah, Tier 1 events are still out of reach for NAVI, but they're taking their chances in Tier 2, which is kinda okay since they want to build their chemistry and team play. At least they got a direct pass to the LAN stage, meaning no embarrassing qualifier runs this time. And while NAVI's plan to climb back to the top through Tier 2 tournaments is cool, let's move on to Team Spirit and an idea brought up by Thorin. According to him, with Zweigt, Nier and Magix all in the mix, Spirit could run practice matches with completely different lineups. Based on the results, they would then decide who actually makes it into the permanent roster. In that scenario, it wouldn't matter how much Zweigt feels, he could easily end up as a bargaining chip. That said, this outcome looks unlikely. Spirit's management has always emphasized creating a comfortable environment for their players, so Thorin's take is more of an opinion than a real prediction, because, you know, who would ever want to stay on bench just waiting to be playing for the main roster when someone there gets tired? I mean, yeah, in traditional sports it might work, but not in esports. Speaking of strategies and tactics, looks like MIBR are dead set on following FURIA's footsteps. Rumor has it they want another ex-VP player, Qikert, although it is still unclear who would he replace or what role he would take, because, you know, for context, Qikert was recently the IGL of Parivision, so he could be a captain or a rifling support. Nevertheless, right now he's still stuck on the bench. And to wrap up the roster talks, according to Niko, his former team Faze were looking not only at Kyosuke, but also at M0NESY. That said, they were never really close to making it happen, meaning they lacked either the money or the motivation or the belief. As Niko put it, it's only natural they'd want to sign him. After all, M0NESY is one of the best players in the world right now, same tier as Donk. And during the transfer window, not wanting players like that and not showing your ambitions would have been illogical. Now, speaking of young and old players, we have to talk about Angel, the former NAVI and Hellraisers player. He officially announced that he's quitting his 20 years old pro career. Yeah, he was a pro even before Kyosuke was born. Just to remind you, he played CS up until 2020, before switching to Valorant, where he spent the last 5 years competing for NAVI. Now he's hanging up the MOUZ, but not leaving entirely, because Angel promised to return next season as a coach. I mean, guys, has any one of you even seen Angel performing? I really doubt it. Otherwise, just prove us wrong in the comments below. But now let's finally jump into the Blast Open London playoffs, and trust me, the results will surprise you. We shall start with M0NESY versus MOUZ. Here, honestly, the Americans already overperformed by just making it to the playoffs. Just to remind you, they knocked out NAVI, but facing MOUZ is a whole different story. On Ancient, M0NESY's pick, they dropped the first half 4-8, but then they came alive in the second, thanks to Lake, who pulled off a pistol round ace. Still, it wasn't enough. MOUZ closed it out after a short comeback scare. Although on MOUZ's Mirage, they completely collapsed. They lost the first half 2-10 and they never recovered. So M0NESY tied the series, which forced things to Inferno. And there, Spinks delivered a huge ace that shifted the momentum. MOUZ ran away with it. They won the series and M0NESY bowed out. They won just 3 rounds on the decider. Quarterfinal 2 was the classic shaky clash, G2 versus Faze. On Inferno, G2's pick, the Samurai looked sharp. They took the half 8-4 and sealed the map with Heavy God clutching a key 1v2. On Dust 2 though, it turned into a highlight reel. Heavy God kept delivering, but Rain stole the show with perfect holds. The Chaos dragged the game into overtimes, where even Kerrigan pulled off a 1v2 clutch to reach the map point. But in the second OTs, G2 completely shut Faze down and took the series. In the first semi-final, Vitality vs MOUZ, well, let's just say Vitality had their game plan nailed. They crushed MOUZ, denying them space across the map. At one point, even spunj joked on stream just to roll the next match, because 12 of 31 rounds ended by saving, which killed the hype. No excitement, no real highlights, so just let's move on. The second semifinal, though, was brutal. FURIA came in desperate. They wanted to reach the final against Vitality, and that might have been their downfall. They just wanted it too much. On Inferno, Senpaias finally woke up. A clutch 2v4, nailed it. Next, Heavy got followed by tearing through the Brazilians. Only Yuri was trying to put up some resistance, while the rest of FURIA just fell. In the last round, Heavy got again reminded why you can't underestimate your opponent, and Mirage played out exactly the same way. 13-5. Well, guys, I will just tell you this. FURIA managed to win only 10 rounds total across both maps, which is their second worst result since I Am Katowice, where they only got 8 rounds against NAVI. Meanwhile, G2, my, they reached the first finals since November 2024, with no M0NESY and no niko. After the win, their manager Paka was asked if this roster was just a weaker copy of their old star lineup. His reply was simple: no, G2 are building their own star roster from scratch. And it's showing. Under Hunter's leadership, players like Heavy God and Melps are simply flourishing, while the coach, Saw, he's just an underrated genius. Plenty of fresh ideas. For the Samurai, this blast feels like the true start of something bigger. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, to follow the channel, and drop by in the comments below, because it helps us develop a lot. Now, I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.